welcome back to Coachin and Cars. I'm your coach, Ren. We are going to go pick up Adam Taylor today. He runs a Keller Williams real estate firm here in town. They are one of the largest producers in the upstate of South Carolina and really the entire state of South Carolina. But I'm super excited to hear about his journey from going from working at a bank all the way to building one of the largest real estate firms in the entire state. So we got the Z28 warming up right now. It's turned into winter here in the upstate. So I think they got snow a little bit north of us, but yeah, we're gonna let the car warm up a little bit. We're gonna go pick him up and we're gonna hear a little bit about his journey. We're gonna take the Z28 today. It's a little too chilly to take the 69, but I'm sure he's gonna be excited about what's ahead. So stay tuned. Why don't you just go ahead and just introduce yourself, what you do, a little bit about you, and give you the floor for 30 seconds or so.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Well, my name is Adam Taylor. I do a lot of things. Mainly, we just help people buy and sell real estate. Been doing it since 2018. I got in the investing side in 2020. Actually, the first investment property they ever bought was the apartment complex that I grew up in, which is a pretty cool story. So we can help people from start to finish, buy, sell, invest, commercial, residential, gotten into some development as well. I'm in the South Carolina Army National Guard as a commissioned officer, captain. And then little known fact, I still have a contract with a team in the Atlantic League, playing professional baseball. I'm kind of a fill-in guy.
Nice. Very cool. So I love what really attracted me to you, and what you do is when you hear, okay, so in our world, in the coaching world, you hear business coach and everybody rolls their eyes. They have a specific, like, there's a stigma that's attached to what we do and how we do it, because a lot of people in our world speak from theory. They read a book, they get associated with a brand, and then they go out and they just teach that one brand. It's a very rigid operating system. What we do is very different. We do a custom operating system based on business needs and things like that. What attracted me to you is real estate agents have that stigma about them as well. Like, it's
right.
A very transaction-based thing. You can go online and there's a lot of people that talk trash on real estate agents and
Yep.
say things like, oh, they're not needed, they're making money off of nothing. But you have actually built a business around real estate, which I think is extremely unique, especially in the area that we live in. So can you tell me, like, what really springboarded you into building this as a business and not just being an agent associated with a larger umbrella?
That's a great question. Success leaves clues. It's one of those things that as I've looked to people, I always want to look ahead 20 years or 30 years to see somebody who has done what I've wanted to do and how they've done it. I'm very much, with whether my military background or baseball background, I've always been coached, and I've always coached other people. Because, when you coach other people, you reinforce your knowledge. So what I looked for is some mentors that had been there and done it, and they all were saying, hey, you've got to, leverage skill sets. You can't be all things to all people, which that's what my personality type naturally wants to be. But by trying to be all things to all people, you diminish what you're actually good at. And so I had to learn really early on to trade money for time back. So I hired a director of operations in 2020. 6 months later, I hired a transaction coordinator. Another 6 months later, we hired, she was a marketing coordinator, but she focused on quality. And what I got to see over time is I'm not all that good at everything like I thought I was.
Yeah.
I'm really, geared to be CEO brain, negotiator, a great connector of people. And anything outside of that, I try to hire out.
Yeah.
And so it was a concept of trading money for time back. And what we consistently watched is our numbers and our volume and our transactions keep increasing and increasing and increasing, because systems and processes were taking care of our clients. And it's a fallacy when people think that they've got to handle every single step of the process. People want people want your quality through systems and processes and not you the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to really get over in my brain, and thankfully I've had a lot of great coaching and mentors to help me through that.
Yeah, people want the product quality, the end result quality, and oftentimes from a visionary like a CEO or a visionary standpoint, that doesn't translate all the way through to the customer, right?
That's
so
right.
you found a way to find people that do those things better than you do.
Yep.
And have the time and the capacity to do those things, to do them really well, so every customer gets the same experience every time. You're not the stopgap in the business.
Exactly. When I made my first hire, of course, I was getting all this coaching that says you have to build repeatable systems and processes. It has to be in a computer rather than written down. Well, of course, I knew that in my head brain, but I had not applied that to my business. So day one, in 2020 of hiring my first employee, Kyle Sizemore, I have everything written down on a poster board from Walmart that I went out and bought. And he walks in and is like, can we get rid of this? I was like, please take this off of me. Get what's in my brain and put it down. And that really started the scale for us.
Yeah. So you had a banking background. You were working at TD, right?
That's right.
And I think, if I remember right, you told me that you were doing 2 jobs at the same time. Like you were working there and you were doing real estate as like a part-time thing. So what made you say like, okay, I'm done here and I'm all in? Like what made you burn the boats and go straight towards real estate?
So I kind of come up, and I may have sold myself short. I was actually 3 jobs. So I was at Army National Guard.
Yep.
So I was drilling on the weekends, building the real estate business, and then working at TD Bank. And I think it's faith over fear. So I basically, for me, what made sense is to make sure that I had 1 year worth of personal and business expenses in the bank, because I knew that if I needed to go back into banking, that I could, but I at least gave myself 1 year to bet on myself. Mm-hmm. And the second that I burned the ships, I remember the night before that I went full-time into real estate, I looked at my wife and said, I don't know how I'm going to fill my entire day worth of real estate. Yeah. And now I'm trying to figure out a way to get more time in the day.
Yeah.
So it's, the most, sure thing that you could ever do is bet on yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did.
Yeah, that's great. And so you built this amazing business. You guys are the largest from a volume standpoint or a revenue standpoint, one of the two in the entire state of South Carolina. Is that right?
Yeah, so the designation is, last year we were considered a team. Now we're considered a group.
Okay.
So a team is 2 licensed agents selling real estate.
Okay.
So we were the #1 team in North and South Carolina based on the amount of homes sold. Not necessarily volume, because we're still competing with Charleston and some of those really high price point places. But from a unit standpoint, homes sold standpoint, we were #1 in North and South Carolina.
Yeah. So what's like the 5-year picture for your group? Where are you going? What do you want to achieve? What's that look like right now?
So it's definitely stretching me to kind of think big as a CEO and the founder. Is our new vision statement is we are the resource for all things real estate in the upstate. That is massive. So whether it is our what we're going to do this year is about 175 homes sold. Next year we're going to go for 250.
Okay.
But then it's also looking at horizontal businesses. One of the key reasons for success late this year is buying short and midterm rentals as an exclusive access to our people. So if that buyer is moving in from Vegas, we have 2 of those right now that are here from Vegas, they can rent from us for 2 or 3 months instead of renting for a year.
Yeah.
And then we turn the buyers and sellers faster. So we're able to make a premium on the rent.
Yeah.
And then turn them as a buyer quicker.
Yeah.
Or we're seeing right now a lot of people who are move-up buyers, maybe with young kids, that can't afford to buy their next home without having to sell this one. And so we're able to say, hey, well, go ahead and sell with us. We're going to guarantee you for an indeterminate amount of time a place to live, a nice place to live, and then we're going to help you buy. So we're unlocking 2 sides of the transaction and making the rent in the middle, and we're providing value for everybody. The illustration that I give my team all the time is if somebody is going to rent for a year at $2,000 a month, that's a $24,000 decision, but they also missed out on probably 6% appreciation on the property.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's say it's a $400,000 property. $400,000 times 6%, $24,000.
Yeah.
$24,000 on equity, $24,000 worth of rent. They made a $50,000 decision to keep renting for a year.
Yeah.
If we can step in and help them, get off that renting cycle quicker, everybody wins.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's so funny because, we live in a very unique place. Now, I'm a transplant. You're born and raised here, but there is a lot. This is a very desirable area for people to move to. And I think there are two types of businesses here. There's businesses here, and this is just my perception, this is Ren's opinion. There's businesses here that have operated the same way for a long period of time, and there's people coming in that are demanding different services and different needs, and they are not adapting to that. Then you have businesses that are saying, hey, there's a new market coming into our segment in the upstate of South Carolina. There's all these new people. I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to change and adapt my business to fit the need of what the customer and the client coming in is.
Right.
And it's really funny because, you just described that perfectly, but ultimately, like TJ at Barn Co., like I had him on a couple weeks ago, and it was the exact same thing. He's like, hey, we had all these people that were moving to the upstate of South Carolina. They were all cash buyers, and basically like they were looking to roll their equity into housing here, and there wasn't any houses on the market, so we decided to start building houses. And it's like he saw the need for people coming into our environment, and he said, okay, here's the opportunity that I'm going to provide for them, which in turn is going to provide for myself. And it's just funny how you're doing basically the exact same thing, adapting to what the market is. And I think that's probably why you've seen a lot of success over the last couple of years.
One of my real estate coaches, no matter if we're on the mountaintop and we've achieved everything we're going to achieve and all kind of having a great year, he always comes back and says, what got you here won't get you there.
Yep.
So it's like never being complacent, always looking to solve a tangible need for somebody, and value, money follows value. And so, what we found right now is that short and midterm rental space is tremendous for helping us unlock buyers and sellers and provide real value, but it's not going to be that way forever. And I think it's looking at it objectively instead of getting set in your ways and like we're going to run this same play over and over and over again. I might pick on Dabo Swinney here a little bit, but like I'm a Clemson fan.
Yeah.
But he has embraced no transfer portal, and he's running that same play, and Clemson is not at the same level that they have been. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good example of, and who knows, that he might be eventually right, but we can't get blind to what the market trends are and become complacent with what we do, because that complacency is death.
So what has your experience with coaching been like, and what are some like coaches that really stick out to you and why?
Yeah, two things. I have two coaches right now. One is his name's Rich Rudnick. He is up in Oregon, kind of real estate specific, and then Todd Korahai, who owns the Keller Williams Greenville Central. And I think the thing that drew me to them is, number one, they've been there and they've done it.
Yeah.
The first time that we met and I heard business coach, probably just like you heard real estate agent, I'm like, what's this guy actually done?
Yeah.
And then, so I asked some leading questions, and you've been there and you've done it.
Yeah.
And these guys have been there and done it, but they also care more about the human being and the family, and then they add on to the business after. So what attracted me to them was they were asking questions like, how much time are you spending with your family? Are you tithing? They were asking really hard questions.
Yeah.
That I could tell they cared more about the human being and the family, and then they wanted to add on to the business after. Sometimes I feel like business coaches, they get it opposite.
Yes.
They want to tell you how to do it rather than why you should be doing it, and always leading you back to your why. So for me, it was people that asked great questions and that had been there and done it, where I wanted to say, I want to emulate myself to be just like that person.
In our world, we say, is the operating system serving us, or are we serving the operating system? And I think, in the business coaching world, when you're applying an operating system to a business, if you're taking the cookie cutter approach and you're just saying, this is how you do it, this is how to run a successful business. Well, every business is a little different. There's nuance in every single business. You can't take a cookie cutter approach, because what you create then is you create Adam Taylor and his team serving my needs and my wants as my operating system. What it should be is Adam Taylor's team is really good at these things. Let's lean into those things.
Yeah.
We're not so great at these things. Let's find a way to systemize that. Let's find a way to streamline that. Do we need to hire somebody? Do we need to do this? And your business is not, I came from the construction world. We would not structure your business the same way that we structure a construction business,
right?
Because it's just different. You have different challenges. The market demands different things. And I think that's where a lot of business coaches get it wrong, is they speak from theory, they have this cookie cutter approach, and then they create businesses that are just serving them. It becomes this self-serving platform instead of like, hey, how can I actually help you move forward and achieve your goals? And sometimes we got to get a little off the path to do that, depending on what business it is.
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of one-liners in my head from whether it's baseball coaches or military or whatever. But one of them, and this resonated with me, they said, "May your strengths carry you and your weaknesses concern you." So, finding those things that you're really good at and leaning into that, like you said, and then the things that concern you are the things you're not good at. You either hire it out, you systematize it, or there's a way around it. And you're right, like it can't be a one-size-fits-all solution, because the person got into the business for a reason, and there's a why behind it and a story behind it. And if you try to just minimize the story for the sake of just doing it a certain way, then you lose the human element.
How many people are on your team right now?
We have 11 people on the team
right
now, and our 12th is going to be coming on January 1st, and we'll see what 2025 has, because the hard thing to do, at least on the real estate end of things, is to build your support team.
Yeah.
Director of operations, a director of growth, a transaction coordinator, inside sales agents. But we've got such a solid core right now that now it should just be growing through scale, through producing agents that are out selling, because then now they've got such a solid support system in place to justify the value of being on a team.
Yeah. And so you had mentioned to me before we started on our journey today, you had mentioned to me that you're taking on really your first draw employee, and that's unheard of in the real estate industry.
Yep.
So what's your theory behind that? What's your vision for what that looks like? And do you feel like you're going to be able to change the industry by having somebody like that on your team?
I think so. One of the things I look for is character and quality, and this person has no real estate experience, but they are as driven and focused. And I've had a personal relationship with this person for a long time, so I've seen how they actually operate rather than just show up for an interview, smiley. Like, I've got a long history with this person. So usually what keeps people out of real estate is the fact that you're going to make no money in the first year or two. And so if I'm able to then step in and offer real dollars and cents and value to people who are unbelievably talented and unbelievably skilled and have big hearts for people, I think that it could unlock bringing in real talent, because other agents aren't doing this. Yeah. And is it a risk on my end of things? Yeah, but whenever you know a person and their skill set, and they're consistently up at 4 o'clock in the morning and sending you emails like, "What can I learn today, coach?" Every day.
Yeah.
Every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, that's the work ethic
yeah.
that I want. So I'm willing to take the risk on this person.
Yeah. So have you guys written the playbook on how to onboard employees? I know you said that you look at character first, which
yep.
I appreciate. You guys have a really strong purpose as a business. You have a strong purpose as a man, number one, but you have a strong purpose as a business. And you guys are going out and hiring and recruiting talent based on the same values and the same purpose. So do you guys have a playbook to go find people? What does that look like? Or do you believe that people come to you and opportunities present themselves?
It's been the latter. It's been people are seeking us out, but as we know, if it's not repeatable, it's nothing. So we've got a couple organizational things going on where we're going to be doing a little organizational shakeup to where our director of operations now is going to become our director of growth.
Okay.
And our transaction coordinator is going to become our director of operations. So our director of growth now is actually in process, probably literally right now, writing the playbook and the system on how we bring talent in.
Yeah.
Because if it's random, it's not repeatable. And what we've got now is we've done just fine being random on the talent end of things.
Yeah.
But now we've built a great sales business, and then we've built a good business. But now we're building a good organization.
Yeah.
And those are three very different things. And so we're actually in the process of doing that right now so that it can be repeatable and scalable, just like all the other things we've done in the past.
Yeah. So where'd you get like your building business knowledge? Like, is this all just straight visionary bootstrapping it, or have you been reading books, or like where does all of this idea come from?
I feel like my life would be a lot easier if I didn't read books. No, what's really cool is, like I say, one of my strengths and weaknesses is I'm willing to just work and grind and think and you put in all this effort. But then I remember there was one time I was kind of at a loss of what I was supposed to do. I don't even remember the situation that it was. And I cracked open the MREA, which is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, written by Gary Keller. And I started reading, and the answer to what I was looking for was right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? My life would be a lot easier if I would read books. But also, too, there's a lot of validation that whenever I bootstrap it and I do it and I generally get the right answer on my own, then I understand it better than anybody. There was a situation a couple years ago as we were going in and inflation was starting to skyrocket and people were projecting the least amount of home sales since 2008 for 2023. Well, I'm preparing my team. I'm like, guys, you know the concept of being the buffalo? And they were like, yep. No, tell me about it. So I told them that the buffalo is the only animal that turns and walks directly towards the storm, so they get through it quicker.
Yep.
So they're projecting home sales to be down 50%. This is back in 2022 for 2023. I said, so the only way that I know how to make sense of this is if you make 2 calls, make 1 more.
Yeah.
If you put 2 people in the CRM, put 1 more. We have to do 50% more to maintain where we are. So then a couple weeks later, we go to the Keller Williams National Family Reunion out in Anaheim, California. And the whole time, of course, in the group text is, be the buffalo, be the buffalo.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and guess what's standing? 2 stuffed life-size buffaloes are at the front door. So it's like little validations like that I know we're on the right direction. And I took it as such a God thing. I'm like, it's incredible. So bootstrapping, reading books probably too late, but also validating that. So I hope that answered the question.
The faster that I make a decision, the faster I get to the actual resolution. It may not be the right decision in the moment. It may be completely off. It may be the right decision, but he's like, the faster I make a decision, the faster I get to the end result. But you're kind of doing the same thing with real estate, where you're saying, hey, we're going to head into the storm. We're going to do these things. We're going to be consistent. But you've also built a business where you can take those risks. You can make quick decisions because you've been conservative when you needed to be conservative.
Yep.
We talk about, I don't know if you've ever heard of the story of the 20-mile march. Have you heard of the 20-mile march?
I don't think so.
So 20-mile march is, there's 2 sled dog teams in Alaska, and they're going on the same journey, and they're going to see which one's going to get to the end the fastest. Well, one of them sets out and says, hey, regardless of circumstance, we're going to do 20 miles every single day. If the weather is really good, we're going to have the discipline to stop at 20 miles. If the weather is really terrible, we're going to have the discipline to push through it and get through our 20 miles that day. The other team says, hey, we're going to let circumstance dictate everything that we do. If the weather's good, we're going to push 50, 60 miles. If the weather's not good, we're going to hunker down and we're going to stay where we're at. Well, the team that does 20 miles every single day is the team that gets there. And that's how you apply that to a business. You say, I'm going to have the discipline. If it's growing bigger than I can make it, and to keep the quality, I'm going to have the discipline to stay where I'm at. I'm going to grow it incrementally, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to make sure that I build it as I grow it.
I go to the CrossFit gym in Simpsonville, and they at one point were selling window stickers that said it was discipline over motivation. The discipline is going to take you much farther than the motivation will, because motivation comes and goes, but discipline every day is super key. And people ask me, like, how do you do what you do? Like, well, you know what? I'm at the gym every day, but what they don't know is that, some days when I'm not feeling it, sometimes I go to the gym, I have a conversation, and I stretch. But it's the practice of going to the gym every day. And it's the practice of me outside of major holidays going to the office every day that people just don't understand. And what I tell them, I'm not dissimilar to anybody. I have just created regular rhythms of things that I know that work, that even if I don't have it that day, I'm still going to show up and I'm going to give it what I've got, and then we're just going to keep that. Builds discipline. Discipline builds habits. Habits build, we know the story, but if you're relying on motivation, you're going to be up and down.
Yeah, you're growing, you're scaling the business. You want to be, is there like a beacon that you guys are going towards where you say like, I want to be the biggest at this, or I want to be the best at this?
There's a couple names whenever you think about real estate in Greenville. A C-Dan Joyner, some of these names that have kind of not only built incredible deep businesses, but they've built horizontal businesses as well. And I think I'm at the crossroads right now of like, let's figure out if we want to go really, really, really deep on one or go across. Whether it is, insurance, property management, lending, all of those other things. The more that we can add value to across multiple, lines of business, I think that's really intriguing for me as well. My biggest thing that I'm trying to do right now is replicate myself through other people, and when it comes on the selling end of things. I think I'll have a much clearer picture of that whenever I get maybe this time next year after, we've got more agents in, and I can really look to see how we've done, to see if it's okay, no, we need to go deep in this business or we need to go wide.
So my last question, what is, if you had to think of one memory that sticks out to you throughout your entire journey building this thing, what is that memory, and can you describe it to me?
So this is really cool. So there's a couple times in my life where I've really felt like I'm in a movie. And last year, it was our transaction coordinator, who's getting ready to be our director of operations, Ryan, his name's Ryan. He got married up in Minnesota. And last year, as we were building and grinding as number one team in North and South Carolina, it was so much work. But our team loves each other so big that all of our team flew up to St. Paul, went to the wedding, and it was just, there was no business being talked about. We're all sitting kind of at the head table because we were all like groomsmen and, bridesmaids and all that stuff. And I put my arm around my buddy Kyle, my first hire ever. I was like, dude, I feel like I'm in the season ending of a TV show right now. Just because it's like, this is the culture of what you build. This is the tangible way of people are spending their own money to get up there to support somebody on our team. And we're just there not out of obligation, but because of love for that other person. That, it's indescribable. Like truly indescribable. I'm so dang proud of just the people on our team and how they are. None of us really come from anything, come from a lot of money or anything like that. There's several of people on the team have lived in double-digit homes growing up. And now to just watch themselves change their family tree forever, golly, man, it's motivating. It'll choke you up. It's everything.
I mean, dude, I'm proud of you guys. Like, I'm proud of what you've built. We have a very short relationship in terms of time standpoint, but I do believe that, God brings people together for a reason, and I feel like our hearts have had a lot longer relationship than our bodies have at this point. But like, dude, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you've built. It's so hard to build a business around real estate without being like a VC or somebody that's like a private equity. That's, there's that version of real estate. But what you do, actually connecting customers with houses, that it's so hard to build a business around, and you've done it. And the coolest thing about the whole thing is exactly what you just described. You have constructed a culture that you protect at all costs, that is now has like a life of its own, and you're going to attract talent that is going to feed back into that culture. And the amount of lives that you guys are changing and that you guys are going to touch throughout the process is just, it's something to be proud of. You should be proud of it. So
thank you, man. Well, I appreciate. Like I said, you meet some people that you kind of feel like you've known for a long time, or just people who are influence driven versus affluence driven. And like, the cool thing about what you and I do, similarly but differently, is we're all about influencing others. We can't take any of this stuff with us. it's like, how many people can we bring on the boat with us to where we're going and changing their lives, and then watch them replicate that serious investment into other people. And it's truly a wheel that keeps turning itself. So I appreciate all the kind words, man. It's and it's a pleasure doing coaching in cars.
Yeah. So where can people find you? Where can people interact with your team? Are there any events or socials? Like, go ahead and plug all of those.
Yeah, for sure. So pretty active on social media, just Adam Taylor Team on Instagram. My personal number is 864-981-0222. Call me anytime. Email address, Real Adam Taylor, real as in real estate, realadamtaylor@kw.com. We do events. 4 events a year typically. We're extremely community driven. I had a coach tell me one time, we draw a defense ring around our CRM and the people that are ours, that we've done business with in the past, because we're in a competitive industry. Yeah. So the more that we can just show people that we are real people, that we want to talk to them about things other than real estate too. Yeah. So a lot of times we'll do events in the community and events at my property, and just want to build an influence-driven business that values the person over the transaction.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know I said that my last question was my last one, but I do have one more that I just thought of. I know a lot of people that live in the Midwest and all around the U.S., and if you had to give your 15 to 30 second, why do you move to the upstate of South Carolina, what is it?
Are we talking quality of life or financial reason?
All of it.
All of it.
Your 15 to 30 second elevator of the upstate of South Carolina is where you should be.
All right, I'm gonna give the financial reason first.
Perfect.
Okay, Atlanta and Charlotte, their median sale price is $425,000. The national median sale price is $430,000, and we are sitting here across the upstate at $315,000. So whether you're looking to invest somewhere where your money's going to grow, or you're looking to be somewhere that is going to catch Atlanta and Charlotte, look at supply and demand. We have low supply, high demand, and we're 25% cheaper than the country.
Yeah.
So if you want a place where your money's going to work for you, come here. Personal reason of why to move here. I've been all across the country playing minor league baseball, time with the Army. I've seen it, done it, been there, and I cannot imagine a scenario where I would personally move me and my family away from here. So I'm not selling you anything that I don't personally believe in. I'm not selling you anything of anywhere that I don't personally invest. We've got 33 rental properties here, nowhere else in the country. So people say I'm a good salesperson. So,
dude, I will tell you, when we moved, so we found the house that we wanted here, not necessarily Greenville. We found the house that we wanted, and it just happened to be here. And there is something very special about this place that you just cannot describe. Yeah, the scenery's great, the weather's great. I mean, we're literally 20 minutes from being in the mountains. We're 2.5, 3 hours from the beach, which is not that far of a drive. It's when you hit Charleston, half of that is Charleston traffic. Yeah. But ultimately, we're pretty close to the beach. But just the atmosphere and the pride of Greenville is insane. Yeah. You go downtown and you feel it, how beautiful it is down there and how people take care of it. And I would say we're less a destination city, from a tourism standpoint, but we're just a tight-knit community. And Greenville just has this thing about it. It has this living, breathing culture that it's just incredible. It's still got the Southern charm, it's got the Southern hospitality, but it's changing and it's evolving, and there's a lot of people coming in, but the culture is still very much protected. Yeah. It's just very special here.
I tell people that I genuinely have the easiest job in the world, and I obviously joke about that because what I do is incredibly difficult. But I tell people that are looking to move here, do not come here unless you are ready to move here.
Yeah.
Because it kind of catches them off guard. Do not move here. What my agent's telling me is no. Unless you're ready to fall in love with the place, don't come here.
Yeah.
And almost every investor that we work with, I'm like, hey, you need to come here and to visit and to see. And I'd say it's pretty much 100% success rate in them purchasing something here. It just sells itself, man. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. You come here right at the tip of summer, in that spring area, or right when the leaves start to turn, and it is the most beautiful place on the planet.
That's right.
Cool.
That's right.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming along. This is our third shot at it. We had a couple people on before, but I feel like each time it just gets better. The conversation gets better. The people get better. It's just great, man. So
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys, there you have it. Adam Taylor. He has built an amazing real estate business. Super cool. Just born and bred in the upstate of South Carolina. Absolutely loves it here, and it's super cool that he's given back to his community through real estate. If you want to get a hold of him, I'll link all of his social media and his information down in the description below, as well as my information if you want to learn more about me and what I do at Exit Momentum and from the business coaching standpoint. But next week, we're going to have a bit of a mystery guest. I want to keep you guys on your toes, but it's really cool. He's built a really unique business here in the upstate of South Carolina, and I don't want to give away too much because I want you guys to have a little bit of an appetizer. But it sounds like he's going to be in a couple weeks, so there's going to be a little bit of a break on videos. But like I said, if you want to learn more about me and what I do, link is in the description below. Please like, subscribe, or hit the bell for notifications. And I appreciate all the help that you guys are giving me and all the assistance. And I just want you guys to share as much of the knowledge that we possibly can from the business coaching world and show you guys that we're not all a cookie cutter approach, and there's a lot of really great people in this space. So if you want to learn more, like I said, link down in the description, and I'd love to interact with you or have any type of a conversation with you. But stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks, guys.